Hello listeners, and welcome to this week's recording of Boomerang. Team 3 is here. My name is Jim, and your other readers are...
Ferine.
Nan.
Ray is our engineer tonight, and he'll be doing recording, and poor Ray will also be doing the copying and distribution. The news this week is taken with permission from the West Lothian Courier, dated Thursday, the 17th of April, and we're recording this on the 17th of April. Any little anecdotes have been taken from the Reader's Digest, again with their permission. As usual, this week the recording has been divided into 4 sections, and I remind you that when you have listened to the whole recording, please post your wallet back to us from a post box and not the post office. So we'll start the first section with some general news.
A West Lothian single mum and her 4-year-old son escaped at the last minute from a devastating fire that completely destroyed their home. Amanda Budziska, 31, was horrified when the blaze suddenly broke out while her young son was asleep on Saturday, April the 5th. The terrifying fire ignited at the Rees-Calder home around 11:30 p.m. Amanda said she decided to stay up past her bedtime that night, which probably saved her lives. She told Edinburgh Live, "I was watching telly and walked into the kitchen to see my whole window was covered in fire. It was a Saturday night. I'm usually sleeping at that time. However, something prompted me to sit down in my living room and catch up with a programme. Turns out it probably saved our lives. In an absolute chaotic way, I opened the front door to realise other people were already outside, alarmed by the flames. As I was running upstairs to get my 4-year-old son out of bed, I could see the fire was also in my other windows. It was all over the outside wall, up to the roof already. We escaped probably at the very last minute as the fire went through my back door into the utility room where my boiler was. The mum ran barefoot in her pyjamas with her son Philip in her arms. Amanda left the talk with her best friend and neighbour Phoebe while she rushed back to the house. Phoebe said her friend was still in shock following the terrifying incident. Phoebe spoke of the horrifying moment Amanda appeared at her door saying she was screaming with her kids in her hands. She put him in my house and I cared for him and pretended it was okay whilst the whole street was in chaos. Thankfully, she was awake. She normally goes to sleep at the same time as her wee boy. It could have been so much worse. Amanda and Philip have lived in the Rees-Calder home for the past 3 years, while she works 2 jobs to support her young son. Phoebe said she's an amazing person. She's a single mum who works 2 jobs. She does her best to provide for her son and make a perfect life for him here, and it's been destroyed, to be honest. Amanda added, "I must say I'm completely devastated and heartbroken. I was so lucky to move into this beautiful new house almost 3 years ago, and it's horrible to watch what happened to our home. The house is completely destroyed." The young mum's family, who all live in Poland, have launched a fundraiser to help Amanda rebuild her life. Amanda added, "I managed to get some things which my lovely friends are helping to wash, such as clothes and toys. The majority of the house is smoke damaged. There is still a long way before we can recover from this disaster. My little boy is still trying to understand what happened, and I can't close my eyes or fall asleep without seeing those flames. I'm trying to stay hopeful that we will rebuild our life soon, and with your help sharing the fundraiser, every share and every donation truly makes a difference." Amanda expressed gratitude for the neighbours who stepped in to help her and Philip following the devastating fire. I have been flooded with offers of help and support, which I will be forever grateful. All my friends, family, nursery staff and neighbours are helping us a lot, and I couldn't do it all without their support. Also, luckily, Places for People have kindly arranged an emergency accommodation with food for me and my son, for which I'm also very grateful. Phoebe hopes the community can help raise more funds to support Amanda. She said, we're all trying to raise money for when she can move back home to get the house even more beautiful than it was before. We want to rebuild it, decorate Philip's bedroom. We're trying to take away any trauma that's there and help them forget about it, to restart their lives for them. It's what she deserves. And there is a picture showing the destruction that was caused in the house, and it's pretty harrowing.
Music icons set to top party at the Palace Bill. A family-friendly festival in West Lothian has announced a raft of local and iconic artists to headline the event. Party at the Palace in Linlithgow will bring a variety of performances from well-known artists and comedians, as well as a selection of food and drink which the whole clan can enjoy. Brought in association with Favela, the event will take place across August the 2nd and 3rd. Acts from across the decades will perform to keep tiny tots and golden oldies entertained. Saturday features new wave 70s band Squeeze, as well as Tom Mahan, Bootleg Beatles, Gun, Sleeper, Carol Decker and Kenny Lee Roberts. Meanwhile, Sunday will see 70s disco group Boney M perform alongside Boys Life, The Hoosiers, Stereo MCs, GBX, The Smiths, Kevin Maguire, Stop the Clocks, amongst many more. The festival area is sold as being extremely spacious, with lots of areas for families to chill out in between acts. The event is hosted by radio stars Kat Harvey and Ewan Cameron. I'm absolutely buzzing to be back hosting the main stage at Party in the Palace, which is such an amazing festival in the most gorgeous location, Kat Harvey said. We fully intend to bring our usual brand of fun and nonsense to the mix and can't wait to kickstart the party. Squeeze and Boney M will be phenomenal headliners, and who doesn't love a bit of GBX madness with our pal George Bowie? So get your dancing shoes or wellies looked out, and we'll see you there for the best weekend of the summer. Kat and I can't wait to get back on stage at Party at the Palace to add some fun and mayhem to a brilliant festival, Ewan Cameron added. We shall have a few surprises up our sleeves and fully intend to get the brilliant PATP crowd involved every step of the way. It's the best weekend of the year, so gather your pals and get ready for a festival fun with brilliant atmosphere. See you there. Kat will bring you all Freddos. The team said they have changed things up from last year and have worked hard to take the festival back to its roots with a focus on family fun and a hassle-free experience for all. Party at the Palace is such an important weekend as it offers an opportunity for families to make magical musical memories together, event director John Richardson said. The people in our local area have really embraced it, and of course it brings visitors from all over the Central Belt and beyond into our lovely historic town. It's about spending time with like-minded people, enjoying brilliant live music from globally renowned artists, as well as cult favourites and emerging talents from Scotland too. We want to celebrate the anthems of summers past, but also shine a light on people creating music future generations will love. It's basically like a big family gathering, with great food and drinks and tickets at reasonable prices. A soundtrack with something for everyone, and a welcoming, relaxed and safe atmosphere that really is key to the whole event. It genuinely is a big party, your party. We have an amazing crowd who bands absolutely love performing in front of. You can buy tickets for the event by logging on to https://partyatthepalace.co.uk/product/buy tickets.
Council wants long-term child poverty strategy. The Scottish Government needs a long-term strategic programme to eradicate child poverty rather than relying on short-term sticking plaster projects. West Lothian Council has agreed. Holyrood ministers have been told that simply throwing money at the issue will not solve the problem, and there is a call for a more holistic approach, including investment in housing, education and transport schemes. And as the Scottish Government prepares plans to take it to 2030s, there was a division across the Livingston Chamber as to how practical and successful Holyrood's work so far has been. West Lothian cites the evidence that child poverty levels have risen to almost 25% in the years since the first Child Poverty Act was introduced in 2017. Councillor Susan Mannion, the deputy leader of the Labour Party, said child poverty has been gradually getting worse despite the Scottish Government legislation and its successes. She used the analogy, the operation was a success, but the patient died. Councillor Pauline Stafford, the SNP deputy group leader, said the government's response meant that Scotland was the only part of the UK where children poverty levels were starting to fall. She told a meeting of the executive that the responses prepared by officers to the government's Tackling Child Poverty Plan 2026 to 2031 were detailed, constructive and balanced. She added, it is good to see that there's a recognition of the gendered nature of child poverty. The Scottish Women's Budget Group has done a lot of good work to look at this. Women are often the shock absorber of poverty. They often go without essentials to protect their children. So I think we should always bear that in mind in any decision we are making in this chamber. It is also good to see recognition of the Scottish Government's positive impact that their plans are now having. It is really important to contrast. We have a government that has taken sustained and decisive action, which has seen Scotland as the only part of the United Kingdom where child poverty has started to fall. If you compare this with the so-called Labour government, which has taken the decision to suspend its MPs who called for an end to the 2-child cap. Councillor Mannion responded, "This is such a good response from officers because it highlights the complexity of the issue. We need a more holistic approach, and we need more synergy between the Scottish Government and local councils in tackling poverty and looking at the cause and effects when it comes to education, housing and transport. There does seem to be a gap in terms of the policies that come out of the Scottish Government linked to a lack of funding, which has made it very difficult for us to work cohesively together." Anti-Poverty Service Manager Nahid Hanif told the executive, "In West Lothian, the latest child poverty estimates from the End Child Poverty Coalition and Loughborough University indicate that 24.6% of children were living in poverty in 2022-2023. When compared to other local authorities in our local authority family group, we can see that over an 8-year reporting period from 2014-15 to 2022-23, there has been an increase in the proportion of children in poverty across all local authority areas. In one of the responses agreed by the councillors, officers suggested the focus should be on addressing long-term structural issues rather than short-term measures. Consultation with those who have experienced poverty produced surprising results, including the suggestion that simply relying on top-up payments to counter the 2-child cap for large families would not end child poverty. It called for wider involvement and investment in the third sector to work with families, and added any policies, actions or approaches that the Scottish Government may look to implement should be multi-year funded in order to deliver strategic, impactful solutions to eradicate child poverty rather than operating under a sticking plaster approach.
College joins worldwide bid for sustainable development. West Lothian College joined a global campaign focused on sustainability in education. The UN Sustainable Development Goals, named SDG, Teach initiative encourages educators worldwide to integrate the goals into their teaching and learning practices. By incorporating goals such as no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, climate action, sustainable cities and communities, the teaching inspires the next generation to act for a better, more sustainable future. As part of the campaign, West Lothian College hosted a 4-day event from March the 3rd to the 6th, welcoming more than 800 primary school pupils and their teachers from across the country. Caroline Jarvis, childhood practice lecturer at the college, led the project. She said, "This year's annual SDG teaching event had local school children coming into campus to work with our students so that they could jointly learn about the 17 sustainable goals. Around 800 children from Primary 1 to Primary 7 visit us over the course of the week, working with over 400 students who are studying subjects like art, childhood practice, sport and fitness, uniform public services, construction, assisted programs, social science and science. The annual event encourages outdoor learning, sustainability and creativity through a variety of hands-on activities, including outdoor exploration and den building, sustainability-themed art and building homes for nature's animals. We had lots of workshops with a lot of outdoor learning, Caroline added. Pupils took part in lab-based learning with our science students, and the Scottish Fire and Rescue Team also led activities on campus. College Principal Jackie Galbraith said, "West Lothian College has ambitious targets to tackle the climate emergency. Our annual week-long teach-in, where staff and students deliver sustainability workshops for primary pupils, is a fantastic way to ensure that the need to act to save our planet is well understood by those who will benefit most from it."
Commitment to quality praised with award for Fault House Football Club. Falthouse United Football Club's commitment to excellence on and off the pitch has been officially recognised by the Scottish FA Quality Mark Silver Award. The accolade is an acknowledgement of the East of Scotland League Club's dedication to providing a high standard of football, governance and community involvement. Initially granted the Bronze Level Award, the club's systems and practices were quickly reassessed after it became clear that Falthouse United were already meeting the criteria for silver. As a result, the Scottish FA upgraded the club's accreditation in a short space of time, highlighting the strength of its coaching setup, commitment to youth development and overall club structure. Falthouse United's Director of Football, Stephen Sharp, said, "This award is a testament to the tireless work that goes on behind the scenes at Falthouse United, much of which often goes unnoticed. It reflects the dedication of our coaches, committee, volunteers and everyone involved in the club. It's a proud moment, and we'll continue to work hard to grow the club in a positive and progressive way." The SFA Quality Mark is a national accreditation scheme designed to support and reward grassroots clubs and community football organisations. Achieving silver status means Falthouse United have demonstrated strong practices across key areas such as child protection, coach education, club administration and community engagement. This achievement highlights Falthouse United's continued commitment to excellence both on and off the pitch. It reflects the club's ongoing efforts to provide a safe, inclusive and professionally run environment for players, coaches and families, cementing its role as a vital part of the Falthouse community.
Fly tippers leave tree cuttings in local road. Fly tippers left a pile of tree cuttings dumped in the middle of a West Lothian road, creating a dangerous hazard for drivers. A member of the public reported the large pile of tree cuttings on the North Rig Road, which runs between Armadale and Blackridge, on Thursday, April the 3rd. West Lothian Council is now appealing for information on the suspected commercial fly tipping near Armadale. Fly tipping is illegal and in this case was dangerous. The material was dumped in the middle of the road, creating a hazard for vehicles using the route, which council officers quickly cleared the road to prevent incidents. The incident is similar to suspected commercial fly tipping that took place near Beecraig Country Park in December 2024, where a significant amount of waste was dangerously dumped on a road. Commercial companies are legally required to dispose of their waste at commercial recycling centres, and there are several in West Lothian. Where a business is making money by undertaking a job, they have a legal responsibility to dispose of the waste. It is estimated that commercial fly tipping accounts for around 80% of all fly tipping in West Lothian. The council are reminding businesses and individuals, if they're employing a business or sole trader to undertake work for them, to check they have a waste carrier's licence, if allowing them to dispose of the waste materials on their behalf. Fly tipping is illegal and can carry a fine or, in the worst cases, a jail term. If you are caught, West Lothian Council can issue a fixed penalty notice of up to £500. If the case goes to court, individuals or companies can be fined up to £40,000 or imprisoned for up to 5 years. If you have any information on those responsible, you can report it using the online form at www.westlothian.gov.uk/don't-waste. Alternatively, call 01506 280000, quoting Northrigg Road fly tipping of the 3rd of April 2025. And that takes us to the end of part 1. We'll be back with part 2 very shortly. Welcome back to part 2, and we only have one death notification in part 2, and it is for Michael Donnelly of Livingston. It is with great sorrow that we announce the death of Michael James Donnelly on the 28th of March 2025, beloved father and grandfather. We'll now move on to the more of... We'll now move on to some more news.
Queues outside Lowport. A popular West Lothian record store saw huge early morning queues last weekend. Lowport Music in Linlithgow was marking Record Store Day with keen shoppers lined up from 4 a.m. on April the 12th. Those in the line on the high street said they had a great laugh and were welcomed with coffee and bacon rolls. The shop was giving out goodie bags, a free raffle with every receipt, and special offers on the day to mark the occasion. They opened at 8 a.m, though the queue was around 25 to 30 people deep before 5 a.m. Posting to their Facebook, Lowport Music said, "Thank you for all your support, likes and shares. Thank you for supporting your local independent record shop. We are here to serve you." One local resident commented, "Going to be a busy day." Another added, "Great morning, worth queuing from 4 a.m. for. Thanks for the coffee."
Thank you to Charlotte for 15 years of support. The Centre Livingston pays tribute to a very special volunteer, Charlotte Rennick, by presenting her with a volunteer award and £100 gift card in recognition of the outstanding work she has been doing to help people in the community for over 15 years. The aim of the award, which has been running for many years, is to reward and recognise the great work by people in West Lothian who go above and beyond to help others, and present them with a personalised framed certificate and gift card to treat themselves. Charlotte, who was nominated by her sister Margaret McQueen, has spent years fundraising for various charities, embarking on lots of different activities, including skydiving with her grandson to raise funds for Bernardo's. Margaret said, "My sister is truly one of a kind. She is consistently going above and beyond to support her local community, whilst also helping her family every day. As soon as I saw that the Centre Livingston were looking to pay tribute to volunteers in the community, I immediately put pen to paper, highlighting why I think she deserved to be recognised and rewarded for the incredible work she does, and was over the moon when I heard that she had been picked." Along with both her sisters, Margaret launched the Butterfly Charity, which raised funds for a number of charities, including bowel cancer, prostate cancer, Simpson's Special Care Unit, Cahona's Scotland, St Andrew's Hospice, Bosom Buds of Scotland, Bateson Cancer Centre, and Chas. Charlotte currently volunteers and fundraises at the Whitburn and District Community Development Trust. In 2024, she completed all of the kilt walks in Scotland, a total of 100 miles, to raise over £1,000 for the trust. The aim of the Trust is to assist local residents by providing a variety of services, including a community fridge and signposting people to other helpful organisations and useful information that can enhance their well-being and support their needs. This helps to foster connections within the community and ensures that everyone has access to the resources they require to thrive. The community fridge, which is filled with food generously provided by local stores and businesses, serves as a vital source for the community, ensuring that people from low-income households can get access to nutritious meals. The fridge is also filled with fresh fruit and vegetables from their own community garden. Charlotte's role is to collect high-quality food from local supermarkets that would otherwise end up in landfill and stock up on community fridge to share it with people in the community. Additionally, she contributes her time as a board member and is excited to be organising a fundraising ball at the Hillcroft Hotel in Whitburn on October the 11th to raise essential funds. The funds will not only support ongoing initiatives like the Community Fridge, Garden and Support Hub, but will also nurture lasting change and enhance the spirit of the community even more. Charlotte said, "I would like to thank Margaret for putting me forward for the award. I accept this honour not just for myself, but for all the volunteers in West Lothian who give up their time to help others. It's something I've always loved doing and will continue to do, alongside raising much-needed funds." Patrick Roberts, Centre Director at the Centre Livingston, added, "It was lovely to meet Charlotte recently and present her with a very much deserved volunteer award certificate and gift card to treat herself to something nice. The amount of fundraising she does and volunteering over the years has inspiring and commendable, especially jumping out of a plane with her grandson. She really is a very deserving of this award." Tickets for the Whitburn and District Community Development Trust Ball with a live band and two-course meal are £45. For purchasing details, email info@whitburncdt.org.uk or call 01501 748 708. If you know anyone who deserves recognition and a special award for the great volunteering work they are doing in the community, please send your nominations to inquiries@thecentrelivingston.com.
Bowling alley plans go forward. The creation of a new 10-pin bowling alley at the former Debenham store at the Centre Livingston has taken another step forward. The proposed Hollywood Bowl development involves converting the former shop unit into an e-go-kart track and a 10-pin bowling alley. An agent for the developer promised a venue designed for family fun. The ground floor will be occupied by the bowling alley, while the first and second floor units will be occupied by the e-go-kart track. Food and drink uses are also proposed for each unit. The applicant is LCP Retail Properties Limited. The owner estimates that the development will bring 35 full-time jobs to Livingston. Hollywood Bowl is well established in Scotland, with venues in Coatbridge and Stirling, and new venues opening up north in Inverness. The Debenhams unit has now been vacant since March 2021. The West Lothian Licensing Board heard an application from the owners for a provisional premises licence last week. The board decided to grant their application. A provisional premises licence in Scotland allows businesses to apply for a premises licence while the building is still under construction or conversion. The licence is a two-stage process, allowing the licence to be considered in principle before the premises are completed. The licence needs to be confirmed within a certain time frame. Premises that are granted a provisional premises licence cannot be used for the sale of alcohol until such time as the work to the premises has been completed and the licence holder has been confirmed by the licence board.
Teen on drug rap. A 19-year-old man has been arrested and charged following the recovery of cocaine and cannabis in the West Lothian area. Around 4:30 p.m. on Thursday, April the 10th, police executed warrants at a premises in Nairn Road in the Deans area of Livingston as part of an intelligence-led operation. As a result, a significant quantity of cocaine and cannabis was recovered, with an estimated street value of around £250,000. The man was expected to appear at Livingston Sheriff Court last Friday, and inquiries are ongoing. Constable David Smith said, "The public has a vital part in helping us to target and trace those involved, and we encourage anyone with information or concerns to contact us via 101 or make a call anonymously to Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111.
Work van torched by thugs. A West Lothian businessman has been left gutted after his work van was torched. Rob, who launched his own business less than a month ago, woke in the early hours of Thursday morning to find his van on fire. Rob believes the blaze was willful. Local resident Jade Carter soon started a fundraiser to help Rob get a new van for his company, Lothian Uplifts. She said the incident has had a knock-on effect for many in the area and that Rob always has a smile on his face. Sharing the news online, Rob said, "Hopefully I'm back on the road soon. The most upset I've been for many years." Speaking to Edinburgh Live, Jade told us, "Rob is such a well-thought-of member of our community, and I personally use him for my home and business on a weekly basis, so this has a knock-on effect for many of us." In the fundraiser, she added, "This page has been set up to raise funds to help Rob to get his business back up and running as soon as possible, following unfortunate events of a fire on his work van, which took place in the early hours of Thursday, April the 3rd. Rob is well known in the area and is always seen with a smile on his face. It's disheartening that a small business incapacitated due to unfortunate and unforeseen circumstances. If you can help in any way, it would be greatly appreciated."
Residents' anger as trees felled. Healthy trees next to a new build homes development in Livingston have been cut down. The 5 mature trees that overlook the new houses in Talbot Drive, Muirston, were felled on Friday, March the 28th. A furious resident who lives nearby claimed housing developers Perella Homes took the decision because the trees were blocking the light into one of the new homes, putting off prospective buyers. However, West Lothian Council had informed the Courier that the removal of the trees is within the planning consent and more are set to follow. The trees are the latest issue at the development to hit a nerve with residents living nearby. Planning permission for the homes was refused by West Lothian Council, but that decision was overturned on appeal by the Scottish Government reporter. The development was granted on appeal in December 2020. However, amended plans had to be approved. Perella Homes were asked by residents to consider building bungalows instead of 2-storey homes over concern about the privacy of neighbouring houses. Despite revising plans and reducing the number of house designs, objectors pointed out that the site would still invade the privacy of their homes, looming over their back gardens. The 4-bedroom detached homes are being sold for over £400,000. The local resident who flagged up the issue with the trees said, "I live adjacent and heard a horrible noise. These were healthy trees with preservation orders in place. They all had a metal tag with a number on them. The trunks with the tree preservation order tags were all lying there. I went straight to the police station and reported it. They were great. And I spoke to Councillor Lawrence Fitzpatrick, and I flagged up to the council's planning departments on the Monday. There's been a lot of issues with this development. To put into context, there's a new house where the trees have been felled that backs onto Murison Trail, and the trees were blocking sunshine into the property. I've spoken to a number of people who confronted them, and they told me they had permission. A West Lothian Council spokesman said, "We confirm that planning permission was in place covering the felling of trees as part of the planning consent for the development of 18 new homes at Tarbert Drive in Murison, Livingston. The council initially refused planning consent for the housing development and removal of trees on this site. The developer then appealed to the Scottish Minister's Planning and Environmental Appeals Division, with their appointed reporter granting planning consent. The planning permission also covers the felling of other adjacent trees along the pathway to the south of the development site." A Police Scotland spokesperson said, "On Friday 28 March 2025, we received a report of damage to trees and woodland in the Livingston area, and our inquiries are ongoing. Perella Homes were approached for comment but didn't respond." And that's the end of part 2. Welcome back to part 3, which is our usual quiz, the layout of which is now 6 pub quiz questions. And remember to listen in to the start of part 4 for the answers to the quiz. So, get your pens ready. Here we go. Question 1. What is the 7th planet from the Sun? A. Saturn, B. Uranus, or C. Jupiter? Question 2. Who was leader of the Labour Party from 1992 to 1994? A. John Smith, B. Neil Kinnock, or C. Michael Foot? Question 3. Who won the Best Actress Oscar for the 2004 film $1 Million Baby? Was it Charlize Theron, Sandra Bullock, or Hilary Swank? Question 4. What is the technical name for the breastbone? Is it A. the sternum, B. the clavicle, or C. the patella? Question 5. On a dartboard, what number lies between 18 and 13? Is it 6, 4, or 10? And question 6. Waterloo and The Winner Takes It All were hit singles for which group? Was it ABBA, Fleetwood Mac, or Blondie? Be back with the answers in part 4. Welcome back to part 4, and here are the answers to the quiz. What is the 7th planet from the Sun? Saturn, Uranus, or Jupiter? And the answer is Uranus. Question 2. Who was the leader of the Labour Party from 1992 to 1994? John Smith, Neil Kinnock, or Michael Foot? And the answer is John Smith. Question 3. Who won the Best Actress Oscar for the 2004 film $1 Million Baby? Was it Charlize Theron, Sandra Bullock, or Hilary Swank? And the answer is Hilary Swank. Question 4. What is the technical name for the breastbone? Is it the sternum, the clavicle, or the patella? And the answer is the sternum. Question 5. On a dartboard, what number lies between 18 and 13? Is it 6, 4, or 10? And the answer is 4. And the last question, Waterloo and The Winner Takes It All were hit singles for which group? ABBA, Fleetwood Mac, or Blondie? And the answer is, as you well know, ABBA. We'll finish part 4 with some more general news items.
Demand for change to planning system after 800 complaints. Hundreds of complaints about West Lothian Council's planning enforcement rules have prompted calls for changes to the system. Almost 800 complaints have been made about planning enforcement, which tackles retrospective planning applications in the last 2 years. West Lothian's SNP group deputy leader Pauline Stafford said she had repeatedly been asked about retrospective planning applications. She called on the council to look at tightening rules around developers who flout planning laws and strengthening legal pursuit of culprits to determine if there was a culture of non-compliance. Planning officers have been asked to supply figures on the number of retrospective applications where development which needs planning permission has been already carried out without it. Councillor Stafford told the Local Democracy Reporting Service planning enforcement has been repeatedly raised at community council and town centre management meetings as well as by individual members of the public. In Bathgate, there have been concerns raised relating to the proliferation of unauthorised advertisement displays on shop fronts, as well as a rise in retrospective planning applications coming to council. It is important that planning enforcement regulations should be seen to be applied consistently and fairly across West Lothian. Councillor Stafford added, "We have many hard-working local volunteers spending time removing litter and planting flowers to improve the quality of Bathgate Town Centre. Their efforts need to be supported through all agencies working together to make sure the town centre is as pleasant and welcoming as it has the potential to be." In a report to the executive, Head of Planning Craig McCorriston said, "Changes planned to the enforcement rules were not significant," but added, "Since the last charter review, the council received some 797 enforcement-related complaints throughout 2023 to 2024, and the reviewed charter, in line with government guidance, sets out the nature of those complaints that will be investigated and those which will not be pursued, having regard to the wider public interest and the impact of a breach of planning control on residential and visual amenity." A spokeswoman for the town's community council said Bathgate Council has written to West Lothian Council expressing concern about what seems to be a rising number of retrospective applications in the area. The SNP amendment to the March meeting of the executive stressed a proactive approach to compliance and adequate resourcing are essential for a successful service. Council Executive wishes to understand the extent to which this enforcement charter is implemented with success. Planning officers have been asked to report to the economy, community empowerment and wealth building, addressing a specific question around the numbers of retrospective planning applications being submitted over the period since the last review to ascertain whether a culture of non-compliance is developing due to the perception that planning enforcement is not being applied consistently. The amendment also seeks answers on information on the resources available for planning enforcement, both budgetary, staffing, and how much is reserved for legal action, and information on the average length of time taken to resolve cases, how these are prioritised, and what targets are currently in place. Since the last review, how many non-compliant enforcement cases after initial action have been closed without resolution, and how many have proceeded to legal enforcement. Mr. McCorrison said the proposed changes enforcement charter would need to come back to the executive for approval.
Search is on to find new Lollipop crossing staff. A hunt for new Lollipop men and women in West Lothian is set to start as the council look to fill difficult positions. Despite regular recruitment drives, the school crossing patrol service operates at around 75% of capacity, with a quarter of sites across the county difficult to fill with a regular patrol staff. A meeting of the council performance committee held. With a wage of £125 per week for patrol guides, veteran councillor Carol John expressed surprise that the jobs were hard to fill, noting that his own grandfather had worked well into his pensioned years as a crossing patrol guide. A council spokesperson said there were no specific areas where it was more difficult to recruit than others. The split shift, a relatively low pay, means that the job is ideally suited to someone living nearby the crossing. The council has recruited recently and will start another round soon. The spokesperson added, "School crossing patrol guides play an invaluable role in local communities across West Lothian, as a regular and friendly face helping pupils and their families to safely navigate their route to and from school on a daily basis." Although a non-statutory service, the council has provided school crossing patrol guides for many years. Currently, there are 82 approved sites that have guides, and roles are regularly available across the county. The positions average 10 hours per week, 1 hour morning and 1 afternoon for 38 weeks of the year. We will be advertising school crossing patrol guide vacancies in the near future. Interested parties should keep checking the West Lothian Council section of the My Job Scotland website, where they will be advertised.
Hislop welcomes bus statistics. Linlithgow MSP Fiona Hislop has welcomed official figures showing that over 4.8 million bus journeys have been made by under-22s in West Lothian since the Scottish Government introduced the policy 3 years ago. New statistics have revealed that over 200 million free bus journeys have been made by young people across Scotland. Fiona said, "I am pleased to see that young people in West Lothian are benefiting from free bus travel, with over 4.8 million free bus journeys made by under-22s in West Lothian since the introduction of this policy. Ensuring that our young people can access free public transport is crucial in tackling child poverty, as this allows them to reach education, essential services and employment. This policy not only supports our young people, but also supports our bus services, local community, and helps tackle climate change. All young people and children aged 5 to 21 years can apply for a card to access the Young Persons Under 22's free bus travel scheme. The scheme was introduced in January 2022 with the main objective of making public transport affordable and accessible to Scotland's young people. Access to free bus travel can improve opportunities in various areas such as education, leisure and work. Free bus travel also enables young people to travel more sustainable. You can visit the free bus website to find out more about the benefits of this scheme.
Kids' menu is big hit with pupils. A school dinner menu suggested by pupils shows how far we have travelled in West Lothian from the days of dessert-branded squashed fly and custard with skin on. Jamie Fisher, the Head of Facilities and Sport Services in the council, told councillors that almost 3,000 pupils responded to a survey on what they would like to see on the menu. Within limitations, they got it. Chairing a meeting of the Performance Committee, Councillor Peter Heggie said, "That must have been an interesting journey." A report to the Performance Committee detailed the service developed a consultation for school pupils which included pupil focus groups to empower the pupils to have a voice in the design of the school menus. As a result of this consultation, juice cans have been reintroduced to school catering and meal deals have been introduced. Pupils are offered grab-and-go meal deal menu featuring sandwich baguette combinations, hot dog and chips, baked potatoes and pasta, as well as a range of sweets, diet cans of juice, water or milk and a piece of fruit. They can be pre-ordered and paid for on an app. Mr. Fisher said the improvements had also evolved different ways to pay for the meals, which cost up to £2.93 daily. He added the primary reason for the cashless catering is to maintain anonymity for those who are entitled to free school meals, but it also takes away the manual process of handling lots of cash. Further improvements come in after the Easter holidays, when pupils will be able to pay for meals using digital wallets on their phones and QR codes. In addition to the grab and go, there is also a rota of set menus, including a choice of main meals, vegetarian dishes, as well as stalwarts like steak pie, chicken casserole and curries, with fruit and yoghurt joining apple crumble and custard. Veteran Council Carol John said the new menus represented a world of difference to his experience of leftover gruel, school dinners in the 1950s. Changes to the way school dinners are now made and delivered, as well as standardised menus across the school's estate, have saved almost £150,000. A West Lothian Council spokesperson said, "We have been working to improve our school meal service to better meet the needs of our young people. The Council is legally required to deliver a nutritionally balanced menu to students, and we have undertaken a menu engagement survey which involved 2,800 pupils and a focus group at every high school in West Lothian to assist in shaping school menus going forward. Whilst we are unable to meet every request, their input as customers has been invaluable to the menu development. We currently operate a cashless system in all our secondary schools, which helps deliver a more efficient service and remove any stigma for pupils who receive through school meals. West Lothian Council was one of the first councils to introduce cashless catering at St Margaret's Academy in 1995, and cashless systems are in place across the whole school estate. We are now looking to improve the service further with the use of QR codes, which will enable pupils to use their digital wallets on mobile phones to enable payments. This provides further choice and can also help avoid delays with lost cashless dining cards. To date, we have also managed to achieve 144,000 of savings through more efficient ways of delivering meals from our larger production kitchens to local dining centres.
Voluntary sector celebrating. West Lothian's voluntary sector is celebrating as Holyrood confirmed it will continue to back community-led mental health projects beyond next year's elections. The government funding, first launched at the height of the COVID pandemic, has provided around £2 million to local mental health and wellbeing projects, supporting hundreds through hard times in their lives. The CEO of West Lothian's voluntary sector gateway, Alan McCloskey, said it was fantastic news. The Scottish Government confirmed £30 million for community-led mental health and wellbeing projects over the next 2 years. The Community's Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund for Adults, first launched in 2021, supports local groups in building resilience and tackling social isolation, loneliness and mental health inequalities. The fund is expected to open for applications this autumn. Over its first years, approximately 4,800 grants have been awarded to grassroots projects that provide peer support and social connection through activities such as sport, outdoor pursuits and the arts. Managed in West Lothian by VSG, the fund is oversubscribed each year. West Lothian's share of the fund is around £470,000, but the VSG has received bids totalling more than £1 million each year. Nevertheless, the fund does provide vital help to the third sector in the county, offering small grants to locally based volunteer groups. Mr McCloskey said, "This welcome investment of around £1 million for a further 2 years is fantastic news for small grassroots organisations that are helping vulnerable people in need across West Lothian. In the previous 4 years of the Community's Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund, £2 million has already been allocated to help over 150 local organisations to provide support to individuals impacted by social isolation and loneliness."
Crumbling Homes on BBC Show. The story of homeowners who were trapped for almost 20 years in Livingston homes built of crumbling concrete has now been told in a new programme produced by Radio Scotland. In the programme, presenter Mark Stephen hears from 3 of those who fought for almost 2 decades for a new home after the Dean South estate was cleared of tenants in the early 2000s. The programme features quotes recorded by Isabel Baxter, remembering her husband Joe, who died just weeks before he could move into a new home built by Springfield Homes for the family last May. The programme has broadcast as The Problems of Reinforced Autoclaved Aerated Concrete, or RAC, have spread far beyond the new town estate built by Livingston Development Corporation in the late 1960s. RAC has also been discovered in council houses across West Lothian, in council homes and across Scotland, prompting a national campaign of which one of Dean South's householders, Kerry McIntosh, is the vice chair. Kerry told the local Democracy Reporting Service that listening to the radio programme, which also features contributions from her and neighbour Phil Cavan, took us all right back to the start of this. She added, "It's been really emotional for us all. I've cried every time I've listened, thinking about what we all had to go through." Kerry said she was pleased that the also programme remembered Joe Baxter and his wife, who had joined her and Phil in the Grampian for a House for House. It is important that Joe was heard. A national petition has been created demanding a public inquiry be held at Holyrood on the Iraq scandal and its effects on householders. In the programme, Phil tells presenter Mark Stephen that there has to be a government solution. Kerry described it as shocking, the troubles that homeowners across the country were finding their homes are identified as having the same roofing materials as was identified in Dean South. More public protests outside the Scottish Parliament are planned. The Dean South story can be held on BB Sounds. And that takes us to the end of the news, and although it's the end of the news, we'll tell you when we have finished the total recording. As you know, in our recording sessions, we include, where possible, a poem or a composition written and read by one of our team, Ray. This week, he has set out his poem to music, and you can listen to it right now.
My walking stick is sturdy, but then it has to be, because you see, my walking stick goes everywhere with me. It has a polished silver grip. The shaft is made of wood. The tip is rubber and non-slip. It's really rather good. I take it with me when I'm out. It helps me when I walk. I tell its secrets, show its sights. No, it will never talk. I seem the perfect country gent when strolling stick in hand. I even look good when in town, a presence I command. My stick and I make quite a pair. Some think it's just for show, but I know that without it, my progress would be slow. It is essential in my life, not just a handy thing. My walking stick is sturdy, and as I walk, I sing. My stick and I make quite a pair. Some think it's just for show, but I know that without it, my progress would be slow. It is essential in my life, not just a handy thing. My walking stick is sturdy, and as I walk, I sing.
We have now come to the end of this week's recording. We hope you have enjoyed it. When you have finished listening to the recording, can I remind you to place a USB stick in the wallet, reverse the label so that the cutout corner is at the top right-hand side, and post it back to us as soon as possible. And remember, wallets should only be posted in a postbox. Please do not post them in a post office. So, it's goodbye from the members of the team.
Therine.
Nan.
From me, Jim, and from Ray, who's doing a sterling work now. Bye now. Bye.